All right, welcome. Welcome. Finally, we can meet for the spiritual healing perspective today. Finally, it's 7 p.m. Central European time. Uh, Unbelievable. So there's preparation going on before this starts, and everything is happening already before this starts. And of course, it depends on where you live. When you have, say, gotten out of your bed, in terms of what has happened to you already. But I can tell you, it's like, well, it seems like everything already occurred. So what's next then? And there's more. So it's a new beginning at the same time. So here we start. We start our day anew, and a brand new moment with its own very specific, beautiful frequency. And yeah, we are going to deeply tap into that healing frequency that is given us by a repairman. So today we have a visitor like a repairman who is going to do some repair work, and what that entails we're going to find out. But the main theme of this is repair. Now, I have to admit that I recognize that all the ideas that I had that came to me beforehand, before this series of classes started, I looked at it this week and saw all kinds of different titles that I didn't know I had put there. But there's always, every time that we meet, there's a theme coming up, a direction. And this time it is repair, like repair work. That's what the miracle is. It's repair. It's not creation, it's repair work. So repair, bring together, so that is really great. And yeah, we start with the meditation, and this meditation is the meditation for this day, day 37 of the Awakening Intensive. And it says like how to awaken, because we can do an awakening intensive, but how do we actually do that? Now, here is something that you can hear as words, or you can experience as the holy instant that it entails, or the revelation that it will give you. It is really like you can hear this exactly in your way, and it will be overwhelming. It's really beautiful what is being shared. It comes from the Urtext manuscripts, and it is from chapter 9, a very specific part. And you say like, okay, I'm awakening. And that's great, because we're in an awakening intensive. You should wake up, absolutely. But is that an individual occurrence, or is it a shared experience? Now, the secret then is this, is like, until you see it everywhere, and when you see it everywhere, you recognize it has happened in you. And that's the great thing about giving this away, like giving this away, however you can do that, however you do that, however that comes to you, is giving you the experience of what is actually going on. Oh my God, I am awakening. Everything around me is awakening. Every aspect of this is awakening. I can see it everywhere, like literally in every detail. It is all different. It is not the same any longer. And so that's what we look at today in the meditation, and this is really beautiful. So I love to share with you the video I prepared for it. Because the sonship must create as one, you remember creation whenever you recognize part of creation. Each part you remember adds to your wholeness because each part is whole. Wholeness is indivisible, but you cannot learn your wholeness until you see it everywhere. You can know yourself only as God knows His Son, for knowledge is shared with God. When you awaken Him, you will know your magnitude by accepting His limitlessness as yours. But meanwhile, you will judge it as you judge your brothers, and will accept it as you accept theirs. You are not yet awake, but you can learn how to awaken. Very simply, the Holy Spirit teaches you to awaken others. As you see them waken, you will learn what waking means. And because you have willed to wake them, their gratitude and their appreciation of what you have given them will teach you its value. They will become the witnesses to your reality as you were created witnesses to God's. But when the sonship comes together and accepts its oneness, it will be known by its creations, who witness to its reality as the Son does to the Father. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is just amazing to me. It's like, wow, thank you so much for this. See, it's like, it is not just a meeting. It's not just a coming together. It's not just a class, or it's not just another whatever, you know. So the uniqueness of this is just incredible. I love that. I love that. Always so brand new, and like there's no habitual part in it. All ingredients are like fresh and new. You have no idea. It's like this, just, I never heard of this. In what we shared in the meditation, in what we just heard as music, I never heard of it. So it's so brilliantly, say, given as we awaken, as we recognize the awakening in each other, as we receive gifts that whoever is giving to us to awaken. You know, there's like, there's an abundance of that, but it's so well directed and so well given to us. It's so beautiful to see how well everything falls into place, in timing, in information, in frequencies that you're suddenly able to receive, in inspiration that comes your way just like that. You know, it literally rains down. You could say it like in the background, almost like a grace ray rain down on you. And I love it. I love it. I love it the way that it is. Say, it is literally you that show me that. It's literally, I see it reflected in you. You show me where you're busy, where you're trying to, you know, get it out or allow it to come in, or, you know, that's so beautiful to see that. And yeah, so thank you for your part in that. It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. And it's like completely out of hand. It literally is out of control. I love that. So, so that makes this really interesting to come together in this brand new continuum and meeting with like a fresh new entry into the unknown. Literally, I have no idea what will happen in the next moments that we're together. I have no idea. And of course, there are certain things that were given on beforehand, but it's like, wow, this very inspirational repairman is doing his job, so to speak. It's doing his job, like the one that stands at the end of the end of time, in full resurrection, reflecting your resurrection, is guiding you in a way and inspiring you on a daily basis in such an incredible way. It's unbelievable. It's like every miracle is inspired. Every moment of sharing, of true sharing, is inspired. It literally has light in it. So that is not a human conversation, but it can happen in a human conversation. Suddenly, boom, there's a communication going on. So it is not tied to form. It's not limited by form. It uses all form to let that happen. And you just had an experience of that, whether that's in the spoken words, or whether that's in the music, whether that's in one of your thoughts that you think, like, wow, I can just let go. I can open up. I can be in full expectancy of what is going on. In that decision of yours, suddenly there's light given. And that is so great. So it's like, forget about the form. It really does not matter. This works through all dimensions, through all, it's like it has nothing to do with that. It inspires. Suddenly it's like, whambo, there's a space for it, and here it is. There's a little space in your consciousness to receive light. Immediately there's the light. This is how you can look at it. So, and then you see, when you feel inspired, we talked about that during the miracle work too, is like dispirited or inspired. Like when you receive this inspiration, you're, say, at the edge of your seat, you're like in full expectancy. It is, yeah, it's in fact blowing away all fatigue or all tiredness or all dullness or all death, and it brings you to life. Suddenly you feel moved to become still. Suddenly you feel moved to do something. Suddenly you feel moved to write something or connect with someone. Suddenly you feel moved to compose or to draw or to think. But thinking in an inspiring way. It's like, wow, suddenly something else is happening. That is very obvious, and that is really beautiful to recognize that in yourself, but also in others. So it is a shared experience. You can share it with one another, and that's really also like why we come together in this spiritual healing class or spiritual healing meeting, perspective meeting. Because it's not that I'm going to teach you something. No, it's like this is in full swing. Like you entered into this. You entered into this. So you're a whole part of it. And you start to see it, come to life around you. Just like we said in the meditation. Like it literally comes to life around you. You start to recognize it, that there is no exception to the love of God, that there's no exception for the love of you, for your brother, and for God. Like there's no exception, there's no other thing going on. And that's just totally cool. That is so beautiful to discover it. And it just keeps getting better in that sense. It just keeps expanding. So today the visuals that I made are related to the idea of repair. And that's just a great way to look at it. It's like wholeness is already whole. So there's nothing to repair about wholeness. But there's something there to repair. And what is that something, and how can we look at that it makes sense? Because recognizing where we find ourselves, we see a need for healing and for repair, for, wait a minute, that's not wholeness. That is not being completely inspired, or that even feels like pain or grief or who knows what. And now it's not that we're going to fix that. So the repair is taken care of. Like, we are not going to repair or fix anything. That's not necessary. But there is a repairman, and he can inspire you. And that's a different way of dealing with this. So this is good to know. So I'm sharing with you the visuals that I prepared. Okay, so here we start. And here the idea of reparation is coming along. So forgiveness is the healing of the perception of separation. So that's also great to read it like this. It's like, forgiveness is the healing of the perception of separation. Not making any of it real, but it is healing of the perception of separation. Forgiveness is healing of the perception of separation. Change is always fearful to the separated, because they cannot conceive of it as a change toward healing the separation. Thinking that separation is their state, or thinking that everything is separate, healing would be like totally scary. Change is always fearful to the separated, because they cannot conceive of it as a change toward healing the separation. You can get this, like the idea is this, it's like the separated ones, if you believe in separation, if you believe in separate objects, an objective reality in which you are located in a certain place and having other bodies around that are living with you, or are sitting in the car next to you, or who knows what. Like, if you have an objective idea about your world, you could say, then in fact you are very much used to the idea of separation. Now, you cannot imagine that there's something else in which that separation dissolves and you actually experience the unity and oneness. You know, that would be very, say, unpleasant for human beings. If you see, for instance, you find yourself in an elevator trying to not look at everyone and trying to not touch everyone, confirms this idea, right? Or in the supermarket, or wherever you stand in line, you try not to touch each other, not to have any kind of relationship, really, like you make sure that you're separated. Otherwise it feels like, oh no, I don't want to do that. So that is an interesting idea, of course. But believing that makes healing a bit scary, because healing would, say, confirm the unity, the connectedness, the immediate communication, the communication without any kind of limit. In other words, the dissolving of your private life, the dissolving of your private ideas. All that does not exist. Well, you got to be ready for that, to let that occur. Okay, maybe with one special one, you could share your, at least most of your private information or your private activities. With one you could do that, but to come into an experience of oneness universally, without exception, unconditionally, well, that seems to be like it needs a little repair work still. So yeah, So here we are. So this is how close it is to you. Like thinking, well, no, I'm no longer a separated one. I'm an awakening, say, entity, awakening being. And yes, you are, of course. So forgiveness then is the healing of the perception of separation. So that means that you stand in line in the supermarket, and this time you repeat this one line in your mind and say like, okay, healing is forgiveness is the healing of the perception of separation. So this one standing in front of me is not separate from me, is one with me. The one behind the register is also one with me. And the one who just walked by with his dog peeing to my car is also one with me, as well as the dog. So like, okay, well, good luck. That's great training, right? So you don't have to sit still and meditate in order to do that. No, you can do that right on the spot, right in the middle of the marketplace. There's literally no form where it doesn't matter, where it cannot be applied, because there's no exception. Like if it would only be in holy temples and on holy mountains, that would be easy. No, this is everywhere. So you literally do something with your mind wherever you are. You have an idea of separation, you have an idea of something that is not doing the thing that you want him to do. You already are separating, and that asks for forgiveness because you are perceiving it this way. Now you know this, of course. And I repeat it just so that it's nice, freshly in our memories, so we can apply it. Because then the world will look different, and the awakening is at hand. Because you apply all that you have learned. You demonstrate it by not attacking your brother, no matter what you see. By stepping back and waiting just a moment for the inspiration to give you the words that are needed, or the silence that is needed. I love that. So that's very practical and beautiful. I should really keep on moving forward. Healing is an act of thought by which two minds perceive their oneness and become glad. Healing is an act of thought by which two minds perceive their oneness and become glad. Well, see, this is great too. So just keep on standing in line in the supermarket. I'm just moving back and forth here. It's like I'm still standing in line in the supermarket. The one that is there that you just noticed and have actual eye contact with just appears to be the right one to experience oneness with. You would not expect it of this person because you had an idea about it that you let go of. And it is not one of your meditation circle or your spiritual friends. That has nothing to do with them. So you meet this person, you actually have a moment together in which healing is occurring. You recognize your oneness with each other. And it feels good. You have no idea why this happens. And it's so like, wow, amazing that this is possible. Hence your healing center. Like this is your healing center. You bring it with you wherever you go. No matter who you meet, where. This can always occur. But this is not a doing on your part. It is an opening up. To be inspired to give that. To let that occur. And that's basically never that you do something. No, you allow this to occur. You step back out of the situation, having all the patience in the world to let anything happen. Your mind is wide open, and here you go. You know, so this is just very practical, where you have a possibility to allow this to occur. Not to preach on the corner of the street or on the rooftop or anything. No, this is humble. This is doesn't necessarily need to be humble in an humble sense, but more like it can happen everywhere. There's no restriction in form or location, and you will see, and you see. Okay, so we continue. Healing is not creating, it is reparation. The Holy Spirit promotes healing by looking beyond it. And notice this, like listen well. Promotes healing by looking beyond it to what the children of God were before healing was needed and will be when they have been healed. That's a great one. It's like the Alpha and the Omega. The Holy Spirit promotes healing by looking beyond it to what the children of God were before healing was needed and will be when they have been healed. So the repair work that is taking place is not a doing on your part. No, it's a matter of allowing the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, to let this happen, to see, to let yourself be lifted up into what you were before healing was needed, and when you have been healed, how you would be. In other words, it's like you shift out of the horizontal plane into the vertical plane, which is really like what a miracle description is. And that happens. So it has nothing to do with what you seemed to see as separation. No, it goes beyond it. It doesn't confirm it. It takes you out of that. Oh, this is really great stuff. I love it. I've got to find my sheet back. So healing, we continue with the repair idea. Healing might thus be called a counter dream, which cancels out the dream of sickness in the name of truth, but not in truth itself, because truth doesn't know anything of sickness. Just as forgiveness overlooks all sins that never were accomplished, healing but removes illusions that have not occurred. So this is what the repair work is about, and it's the reparation of what never broke. It is a reparation, like it's a repair of what never broke. So that's pretty amazing. The dream of sickness, it cancels out. It's like a counter dream. It cancels out the dream of sickness in the name of truth. And just as forgiveness overlooks all sins that never were accomplished, like nothing happened in your dream of attack and abuse and all this that seemed to have happened, here's a counter dream offered, where it actually never has occurred. It shows you it has never occurred. Now that's not a concept, so this is an actual occurrence, and you see that here. Forgiveness is not real unless it brings a healing to your brother and yourself. Now what is it? It brings healing to your brother and yourself. Well, we just said it too, like the healing that can take place when you stand in line in the supermarket or wherever, even in an elevator. You have a moment in which you recognize your oneness instead of the exceptions. We read it in the next one too. It's like instead of seeing exceptions, you suddenly start to see that there are no exceptions. That you are one, that there is no such thing as separation. It never happened. We played that game together in a dream of sickness, in a dream of separation. Wow. So there's more. So, but I'm going to stop right here. So I actually want to take a moment, like have a moment together of quieting down, having a moment of, it's like a quiet time for just a second. Maybe there's some music, maybe there's some silence. So let's let this happen for just a moment. See, let this be. Let this be. See, it is like so great to be present in this, to allow something new to happen to yourself. Like this is only happening inside yourself. This has nothing to do with anyone else, and that is so great to discover that. But at the same time, as we saw in the meditation too, it's like you see this reflected and coming back to you by your brother. Now this connection with your brother, it's like how that happens is just by inspiration. It's just given to you. So it's like you cannot force it, but you can stay, say, awake, or you can stay in expectancy for it to occur. And I love that. I love to practice that, or to be aware of that in how we are together, in how we meet and how we exchange or share with one another. And so the last thing is then what I share with these visuals that I share is like, you could say, like pure inspiration that is given to receive and actually see it at work inside yourself. Like if you include it in as a whole part of yourself, you see that it works like that. You see it at work in where you find yourself. So listening to it like that and allowing that to speak to you is just completely amazing. I love it. As soon as an idea comes up, for instance, with like now, for instance, the word repair, it is like the whole spiritual healing handbook that I say that we compiled suddenly aligns in that way. It literally seems to be like a path that we walk on for just a moment to see it from that perspective. And just like the last time we were talking about unity, and there it is, there are all these expressions. So it's really beautiful to see that at work in our inspiration, in the way that this is coming about. See, but what I'm trying to say here is that your presence and your part in it is so important, because it literally determines what will happen for you, for your brother, for whoever is present or isn't present. And like you determine that in this moment, how that is. So it is not something you just hear and forget about. No, it's an actual occurrence. And that is really great to feel that and to be so present in it that you give it, in fact, everything. You want to hear it with your whole mind and your whole being. So that's that came up just to share. And I love that. That's beautiful. So here we have, the healing art. Healing is both an art and a science, as often has been said. It is an art because it depends on inspiration, in the sense that we have already used the term. Inspiration is the opposite of dispiriting, and therefore means to make joyful. So that's why it's an art. It's like an art in the sense that it has everything to do with your inspiration and with you becoming joyful in this, in the receiving of this, in letting this work in you. Okay, so here are some miracle expressions. Like, I didn't choose to put in miracle principles today, but this came, and it is like a miracle principles. Miracles have no place in eternity because they are reparative. In eternity is wholeness. It doesn't have anything to do with reparation or reparative action. But while you still need healing, your miracles are the only witnesses to your reality that you can recognize. So this is crucial what you hear here. But while you still need healing, your miracles are the only witnesses to your reality that you can recognize. And how can you recognize that? How can you recognize that? Okay, here it comes. How can you recognize that? Because it's the only thing that you can recognize that your healing took place. How can you recognize it? Because you become joyful for no reason. Literally like, wow, I can't believe it. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Thank you, God. You know, this is how you recognize that. It's like by feeling the joy stirring up in you for no reason that you can come up with. It just happens. And that is what a miracle is. It's like that is the real miracle that we're talking about. You cannot perform a miracle for yourself because miracles are a way of giving acceptance and receiving it. Giving acceptance and receiving it. So you cannot perform a miracle for yourself because miracles are a way of giving acceptance and receiving it. In time, the giving comes first, though they are simultaneous in eternity where they cannot be separated. When you have learned that they are the same, the need for time is over. When you have learned that giving and receiving are the same, the need for time is over. Eternity is one time. Its only dimension being always. I love that. I love it. So this is, say, hardcore miracle study. You cannot perform a miracle for yourself. That's a bummer. Yeah, okay, well, because miracles are a way of giving acceptance and receiving it. Acceptance of what then, you would say? Well, giving acceptance. Miracles have no place in eternity because they are reparative. But while you still need healing, your miracles are the only witnesses to your reality that you can recognize. So when you realize, so how do you come to know? This would be a question, like how do you come to know that giving and receiving is one and the same? How can you find out? You know, this is so essential, but how do you actually do it? How can you recognize that giving and receiving are one? Well, start giving. Start giving. Start giving. And giving in the sense of standing in line in the supermarket, giving it a moment. Instead of giving your judgment about your brother or what you perceive, you step back and allow something else to occur. That's a good start. So your giving is then in stepping back. Not giving like a speech. Or not giving this or that. Like, it is not limited by form. It can go that way too. But this is a nice one to start with. Like, stepping back. Letting something else occur. Being the representative of the alternative. You know human behavior and you know it very well. So you can perpetuate, like we said the other day, it's like a repetitive compulsion of doing the same thing over and over and over and over. No, you wait in line. No, you go back. No, 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 no. You do it like this. Okay, well, you know what the result is. Or you are the representative of the alternative, not knowing what has to occur because it is brand new. It is not set in stone what is going to happen. No, you're actually with your forgiving eyes, which means, say, allowing the healing of perception of separation, as we read. You allow healing of the perception of separation. That can go very fast. It has to do with your willingness. If you fall into the compulsion of repeating the same story again, the miracle is gone, so to speak. You're going to be in another situation where you can practice that. But if you allow that to occur and allow that to happen, there it is. There it is. And what happens is that your brother becomes happy and you become happy. Your brother first. Your brother becomes happy and it makes you so happy. This is just totally amazing. So this is how simple it is. Like, let's not make it complicated. This is spiritual healing, about the highest teaching you can get. It starts here. Here's where the repair work takes place. Not the fixing of the situation, no. The representation of the alternative. I love it. It's great. And it works. How do I know? Practice it. What do you have to lose? Give it. Give that alternative. Give it. Represent it. Be a representative of it. Keep it in mind. Keep it. Yeah. Instead of standing in line, gossiping and say judging, you step back and wait and let something else occur. All right, I've said it and I've repeated it many times now. So this is great. Now I know for sure. Now I know for sure that you have sufficient experience in this. So in class we continue now with sharing some experiences in which you became the representative of the alternative. So that can mean that you let it happen right now, or that you share about a story or a thing that recently happened in which you saw that your brother became joyful and that made you very happy because you recognize your oneness with him. Or you can practice it right now by just becoming still and representing that alternative in this moment, however you want to do this. So we don't separate, but we're actually, let's say, dividing in two groups. I don't know how else to say it.